All right. So, my good friend UMAMI BEE is joining us. So, for those of you who don't know her, my listening audience who hasn't been introduced, UMAMI BEE and me go back to the good old days of college.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Chico State, the Wildcats. What?
Woo woo,
uh,
Chico.
but yeah, UMAMI and I were in the same major. We've been friends ever since. She is an artist, a painter, a musician, a philanthropist. I'm sure you write, you record, you probably do all sorts of other stuff. And for real, so when UMAMI BEE and I met back in college, I thought all my projects were pretty dope. And I'm telling you, every time this girl, no matter what the project was, whether it was like just a quick video or an actual, like we did like these commercials, whatever it was, yours were always killer. And I remember having this conversation back in the day with our good friend Soap and saying like, yo, no matter what this girl does, she's going to kill it. And we are both like the talent was obvious, you know?
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
but you've gone through a real transition, and I kind of wanted to, we were talking about that off air before we jumped on here, but I wanted to kind of take the people through this emergence that you were talking about, because we graduated with a media arts degree. So you know, we were learning everything behind the camera, in front of the camera, everything, just the media in general, right? And
Mhm.
so we graduate, and let's take us through that journey of you know, being an artist and trying to figure out, you know, okay, now what? Because I think we all have this point. Every artist has this moment, whether it's, you know, coming into their own or, you know, being out on their own for the first time, graduating college, whatever it may be, where it's like, oh shit, like now what do I do? So you've done a lot of crazy, really cool stuff. So let's kind of, when you graduated, let's start there and just kind of take us through the journey from there.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2016 from Chico. You hit the nail on the head when you say, once you get out, you're like, what the heck am I going to do now? And I'd say that that was definitely my thought process. Um, when I was first graduating college, you know, I was a media major thinking, oh, I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to do the big thing. I'm going to do, my goals are huge, but starting was not so simple. And truthfully, I think I've always been more of a creatively driven person, but did not end up there straight out of college.
Right.
My first job out of college, which is so interesting for the reasons that we're here today, was at a radio station. And I was working at Entercom Radio.
That's right.
That's right. So I've learned a lot about the music industry from that, but I was doing back end stuff like sales. I
Mhm.
did work in the creative department, but
So hold on, let's pause there. The reason I got my job at ESPN Radio was because of you.
that's
So
true. I
thank
remember
you.
making your resume.
Yes,
I
that's
remember
right.
that.
That's right.
That
I'm
was
telling you.
awesome.
It's been, yeah, we go back. So okay, so you're at the radio station, you're working in sales, you're doing a little bit of marketing, but you're
Mhm.
not really doing, you know, that creatively driven stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah, because I thought I'd be in film, and I really
Yeah.
wasn't. Um, but I guess I'll kind of fast forward you through what ended up happening after college is I did not pursue my passion. I
Mm.
went into event planning and marketing and have had some really great prestigious jobs. I worked
Yeah.
for UC Davis School of Law. I've worked for as an events man. I think I was a manager by like 22, 23, managing 50 people, telling them what to do in this field that wasn't even what I would say was my calling, but I was always creative on the side. I always had a hand in those businesses, like creative endeavors.
Yeah.
And long story short, currently I'm an artist. I am a painter
Yes.
slash muralist, and I went through a period of figuring that out. I got to be honest with you. I'd say that I was a closeted musician, closeted artist for years because I think that what you care about the most is also kind of what you have to take the biggest leap into.
Yes.
And I was afraid to make that leap, claim it, stand by it, because I was afraid of the judgment that went along with that. But truthfully, it was a process. It was a big old process to honestly even find out that I was an artist, that I could paint. I always knew I could draw when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I always knew that I had, like, you know, a creative eye, as you said, like in class that translated, but I was like, I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
You know, when you say that, now thinking back on it, it's like, okay, that makes total sense. Like you were, because you never really wanted to talk about like how talented you were. And it was almost like you, from the outside looking in, it was almost as if you had like not a shame about it, but like, yeah, it's fine. You know, like whatever you put out. And in our class, everyone was like, oh shit, like that was incredible. And you'd be like, yeah, it was cool. And I remember you in particular, I remember we had this one project where we had the option of working with others, and you're like, no, I'm just gonna go kind of disappear. And that makes now, like, I'm connecting the dots. Like that makes sense. You were a closeted artist this entire time.
Yeah, I really was. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I'd credit you and Sophie, who's still my best friend, one of my best friends in the whole wide world.
Shout
out to Sophie, also the part of the Chico crew.
Yes, indeed.
It was actually you two who had pulled me aside one day, and I was like, why are they talking to me? I was like, what's going on? And you guys were just like, dude, like, you're talented. And I was like, huh? You know, it's not something that I would say I was necessarily unaware of, but it was definitely something that I suppressed. I've truthfully always had a fear of spotlight, fear of limelight, and a very weird fear of fame, which is a weird thing for someone to have when they're not even famous. but I've always had that underlying fear, maybe because I knew that perhaps I could reach that potential. And so I've always been a back end gal, and I've helped so many projects thrive in the world of musicians and art. I've helped build and curate communities on the back end that I still to this day am proud are something. But I'd say the difference between that version of me, who was not even UMAMI BEE, you know, I kind of feel like I had to die and come back to life to reach my full potential. The difference is that I was living a lie. I was living a double life. Let's just put it that way. When you are something, when you are born a certain way and you have these skill sets that are given to you, right? Like what is considered your calling and you're not following it, the universe will call you out for it. And the universe kept calling me out, and it was like I call music my Jumanji. Have you seen that movie that there's like the whole like beginning of the movie where there's something knocking and it's like don't. And I was like, what is that? But only certain people can hear it. That's how it was for me in music and me in art. It was like I'd be going through life and I'd be ignoring that, and then I'd hear the don, you know, in some way, shape, or fashion, which would appear out of thin air, and I'd be like, oh shit, it's time. No, it's not time. It's not time.
Yeah.
But I'm here now, and it, like I said, required a little bit of a death and rebirth period, which is actually why the first EP I made, which I only made August 2021, is called Resurrection. It is a direct reference to this time frame where I was living this double life, where I was just this person that everybody thought they knew, but they didn't know how much I was like suppressing and how much I was like wanted to like be out there and be a part of it. So I killed her and I came back as UMAMI BEE. But when I say come back, I gotta be honest, I say, this is my truest self.
Yes.
This is the me that I was born to be. This is the me that I chose. This is the me that I forgot. And so me coming out as this is me being that me 24/7 and standing by it and owning it and being proud of it has been years of confidence building, but years of also standing by my truth and coming out of a big fat closet.
So Umami, one thing that really caught me there when you were talking is there wasn't a fear of failure. There was a fear of like this finding out what the success or what this potential could be. And that's crazy because most people are afraid of what if it doesn't work out. And your fear was what if it does, right? That's interesting to me. I've felt the same exact ways, right? Like where we do suppress some of the things. And I think everyone on some level can relate to that. If it's whatever unique innate talent it is to you, we do have a way of wanting to suppress it, whether it's to fit in or to fit the idea of what we're supposed to be as, you know, people in this society, right? Whether it's career driven or whatever else. And I do feel a lot of people struggle with suppressing whatever that talent is. And it's really cool to hear you be able to articulate that. And then it was like, no, now I'm this. I've always been this. Now I'm going to be this all the time. And we're just going to lean all the way into that. That's incredible. So I want to talk because, yeah, it was crazy to me. I knew, you know, from like your sketches and stuff, I knew you obviously were a talented drawer. And then painting, where did that come from? Like, because you're crazy talented. Like you're making good money doing it. Like it's crazy to me. Like, and it just seemed to happen. Like one day you were working
seemingly overnight.
Yeah, man. Like I remember, like, I was just talking to the homie. She was working for UC Davis Law, and then you're a painter. Like, okay. So talk to me about that.
I always joke. I was like, if anyone knew me before, they'd be so shocked about what my life is now. But now it's the opposite. People are like, you were ever in a corporate setting? And I'm like, yeah. But honestly, the truth is that I didn't really know that I could paint to the level of which I could, which I know sounds weird. I'm going to reveal a secret to you that I don't tell people on purpose. Okay. Which is that I only started painting during the pandemic. And prior to that, I did not really paint. I had painted things here or there, but it was the pandemic where I think I really found a love for it and was like, holy shit, this is it. Like, this is the thing I need to be doing. That passion struck. And for me, it was a very gradual process, very organic process. I'm really proud to say that during the time frame I was becoming an artist and truly taking art and music seriously, I was off of my phone and all media. I went through a complete and total media cleanse. Like, I didn't even Google anything. I didn't use the internet. I did not watch TV. I spent about 6 months, I say, in the woods, in the wilderness. I would tell myself this. I said, I'm going to F off somewhere. I'm going to come back with something. And if I don't come back, I always have to come back with something. So I would go and I'd sit by the river. I'd go sit in a serene place with just myself and a notebook. And I'd always come back with something, whether those were words, whether that was something I had painted. I started with watercolors down by the river. And then I got into drawing, and then I was making coffee art, and then I was painting. And I'd say that art, just like any art form, is a series of tangents that you go off on. And
yes.
You make that point and you move on from it. And for me, I think getting to the part where I started painting was the part where everyone was like, oh shit. And I was sitting there just like, yeah, okay. But then I got validated so quickly. I think the first time I had painted a portrait, which is what I primarily paint now, are portraits. Yeah. I got into an art contest off of my first painting. I remember thinking, okay, well, that's kind of weird. And then another thing that happened in the same year that I had started painting, I got selected for what's called Wide Open Walls, which is a mural festival held in Sacramento. And it's a prestigious mural festival. It's hard to get into.
Yeah.
It's hard to be selected. And I was selected in my first year of painting. And I would say that that was the point where I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is not normal that I would get selected for something like this so soon. But the truth is that I guess when you're a creative person, like I said, and you have your passion and that's your skill and that was what was given to you, you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
And the moment you take it seriously, it takes you seriously back. My art is truly a spiritual process for me. It's truly like, I can't describe how much I'm not doing it for any other reason, but it feels right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And so it balances me that way. Yeah.
And now you're also doing music, right? Like,
that surprise.
So is that, as this awakening's happening, as you're, during the pandemic, going into the wilderness, as you put it, is that when music began to like kind of, I guess, develop in your soul, or you started to express it? You started to experiment with it? What happened there?
It's kind of crazy. Actually, the opposite. The time I spent in the wilderness was the time I spent away from music. And I don't mean that from me making it. I would say all of my art is actually inspired by music. Music is my first love. Some of the best advice I ever got was, if you're really good at something and you're creative, usually you have more than one skill. And sometimes it's important to let one of your skills rest, or your main skill rest. And so I think music is my main skill, and art is what took its place when I was kind of grieving a loss of it for a time. The story is that it was actually before the pandemic that I decided I wanted to take music seriously. I was in a band, etc., and it did not work out with the people I was around at the time. And I felt so discouraged by that I gave up on it completely.
Yeah.
But one of the things I would do when I was in the woods is I would be singing all the time. And I didn't put two and two together about what that was going to turn into. So fast forward to me deciding to move to LA, just because it was the best decision for me at the time. I didn't have any goal or agenda. And then I made an EP in a week, and I never expected to ever do that. And that's when music came back to me. But here's what's interesting about that time I spent off my phone in the wilderness. A lot of the lines in my EP are from things I wrote down during that time frame. It was like I had a book and a plethora of art to pull from when it actually came time to do the thing that I really wanted to do. And it was so easy to do it. That's why I made it in a week all by myself. And didn't know I was going to do it, didn't plan on doing it. And then once I started, I was like, this is fun. And I kept doing it, and I was like having a good time. But this is why I say sometimes it's important to let your main skill rest, because the quality of what I strive for only came from the authenticity of the time I took away from it.
Okay. I got you. That makes a lot of sense. So let's talk about it. So you have a single, it's out now, right? It just dropped.
Out now. We are waiting for distribution to clear it through all of the platforms. But we do have a brand new song out called Tuyo. So Tuyo is a baby that we made. It's with myself and my producer Balto.
Shout out Balto. He crushed it. Oh my God.
It didn't he? It was actually around the same time that I had just come out with my EP. Balto listened to it and he's like, hey, you should sing on one of my tracks. I said, great. I'm ready to collaborate. It's my first producer track ever. He sent me the track, and the first thing I said to myself was, this is a radio hit. This is a radio hit. I have to sing on this thing. And so the beautiful cataclysm of timing, I think it was around December 2021 when we started this back and forth on this track, which has had a series of different versions and revisions.
Mhm.
It's been about 6 months of back and forth, but we're so happy with the finished product. Balto's a phenomenal producer. He's made tracks in the past too. And we share the common love of Sophie, who we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
This is how it all connects. Sophie is Balto's girlfriend and also my best friend. So we share a common love.
And my daughter, not actually, but I used to call her my daughter.
I used to call her your daughter. So I say Sophie is the reason why this track even exists.
Yes. Okay.
Truthfully. But it was so fun to make and to do the back and forth. And we did it separately. I'd record in my house. He would take it to his place and like be like, oh, I like this part. I don't like this part. And it is what it is today. And I don't think either of us expected it to come out as good as it did. Not that we didn't know what we were doing, but again, it was one of those things that was so organic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their lyrics to the song, which I know are kind of hard to make out, but that's fine, is, you know, something I was actually going through during that time frame. Every part of that song is very true and organic, and a true collaboration between two people who just care about music.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think you'll find it interesting is during the time frame we started working on this song that Balto actually started working for Kanye.
Yeah.
Kanye West, if you know the guy.
If you've heard of him.
Yeah, heard of him. And that happening during the time frame that we decided to make the song was so strange, because we were both like, this is kind of why this is actually happening, right?
Yeah,
but yeah. I was like, it's also not a coincidence. I was like, not a coincidence. So he was helping with the back end of the Sunday service, and then also got a chance to help with Donda too. And so I remember saying, I said, Steve, Balto, this is not a coincidence. You really, like, I think that this is just a sign that we're on the right track to something.
Yep.
And collect the knowledge, collect the experience, you know?
Yeah.
And it led us here, and I think
let the universe speak to you, you know what I mean? And just listen, right? So you got a project coming out. Tell us about that.
Yes. So I'm currently in Oakland at Oaktown Soul Recording record label. They are going to be helping with the UMAMI project. So this is my first, this Tuyo song has not only been fun and exciting to work on and, you know, hit with the crowd, but it's also how I ended up here, I would say. I'm very grateful to be here. Super excited to have a full team of producers finally helping me make my thoughts come to life. And more than anything else, I'd say I'm a composer at heart. This is why you never heard of me. I've been writing music my entire life. I am a classically trained violinist. I've been playing violin since 4th grade. I read and write music. And I did not tell people that at all. So if people are surprised by me coming out as being a musician, or how'd she end up at a record label so fast? I've been a musician the whole time.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Yeah.
And so to have the opportunity to compose, to create with people who are truly passionate about the grind of music, who live, breathe, eat, sleep music, this is where I'm supposed to be.
I love it.
This is what was always supposed to be. This is the path.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's the Jumanji of my life. I was always going to end up here, but didn't know how, why, when, or what. And you just got to listen to what's being said to you. So again, back on the Tuyo thing.
No doubt. Yeah. Go. Everyone go check out Tuyo wherever, whatever you stream, whatever your platform, it'll be there. And obviously we're going to play it on the radio show on Flipside on our triumphant comeback this Sunday. tell the people before we get you out of here where they can find you, where they can follow you, where they can get your art, all that kind of stuff. You have NFTs. You're doing so much, like it's impossible for me to keep up. So
that's what everyone says. This is also why I say that my time when I wasn't an artist was actually my business school. I manage my own thing pretty well now because of it.
Yeah.
But you can find me at UMAMI BEE Art on Instagram. That's UMAMI BEEART. You can find Balto at BALTEAUX. Fancy spelling with an underscore. Although his producer name is just BALTO, Balto. You can find both of us on Instagram. We're going to be posting about the song here pretty soon.
Yep.
We're going to do some club appearances, and it will be on the radio. We're super stoked about that. You can also find me at umamibee.com. That's where I keep my NFT collection. I have some art on there. If you're looking to buy something, we're most active through Instagram. And we are on Spotify and Apple Music. So stay tuned for more stuff coming out with that. I'm sure me and Balto will have more tracks coming out. And we appreciate the support because, as I said, we just came out the closet. So if you guys can help us get to where we should have been this whole time, which is making music this whole time, we greatly appreciate it.
No doubt. Umami, thank you so much for your time. This has been a really good time. It's been great catching up with you. We're going to have to do it again soon. Give some love to your brother Deej. It's been a while since I've seen him. Miss that
He's
guy.
all yoked now.
Yeah, man. I see him putting in work. But shout out to Deej. Much love, Umami. You're absolutely crushing it. It's just it's been really cool to watch you transcend and to reemerge as, you know, this person you were always meant to be. It's been really, really awesome to watch. So continued success, and yeah, we'll do this again soon. Cool.
You betcha. Once that song hits top of the charts, I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
No doubt. No doubt. So that's UMAMI BEE, everybody. Check out her new single, Tuyo. It's fire. You're going to hear it on the radio.